Hi folks, this short video is to really encourage you to watch longer videos, both of which were recorded in 2013 in the Animal Rights Conference in Luxembourg, and both of them are by Steve Best. The first one, which I always recommend, is called Total Liberation, but the one that I'm thinking of now is called, let me just check, Ecological Crisis and Veganism. So if you put Steve Best, well, I'll do the usual. I'll put the links down below. Now, in this ecological crisis video, Best gives a wide-ranging, globalized analysis of climate change, population growth, all kinds of issues that are vegan issues, and essentially ask the question, do we have enough time to fart around in the way that we are? And that's interesting because if you think about the reducetarians, they're kind of like based on slowing everything down rather, veganism is for them in the distant future. Tobias Leonhardt talks about taking everything gradually in some of his talks. Now, that's a little bit different from another concept that he has, which is called slow opinion. Now, slow opinion as an idea is quite good, and it just effectively, it's just his way of saying reflexive thinking, critical thinking. That bit is quite good. Not everything that Leonhardt says is rubbish. Quite a lot is, but not everything. But then again, it couldn't be really, because most of what he talks about, the stuff that is good, is just common sense knowledge in a sociological sense, and basic foundation level psychology, and often sales psychology. That's the crappy bit usually. But it does beg this question, which Steve Best raised 4 years ago now, which is, do we have time? And one point that Best talked about resonates with me, because he's basically saying that we don't have time to do what I'm doing either. Now, he was talking about vegan education of the kind of Francione type at the time, which I think they used to characterize as one plate at a time type reform, creating one vegan at a time. And in some senses, that's what vegan education is all about. And so there is this question of, do we actually have time? Does the planet have time to do that? I mean, we have good discussions and good interaction with people in Dublin every week in our vegan information days for Vegan Information Project. But again, is that going to be enough when there's billions of people now and there is all kinds of stuff going on? We see weather patterns at the moment going absolutely apeshit in terms of normality. So it does beg that question. And of course, I think Steve is talking about that we need a increase in radicalism, possibly of the old kind of ALF type, which again is a major problem, because we don't have the feel that we used to have about that, I don't think. It used to be the case when journalists would report that there was just in England or in Britain 6 ALF actions per evening, per night. Well, that is like dreamland nowadays. And I think the amount of people in our kind of increasingly middle class, secure, and it must be said, white movement were willing to go to jail are really kind of low. And also there's been technological differences now as well, in the sense that a lot of the stuff that went on in the 1980s that I reported on, some of which I was involved in, we couldn't really do nowadays. So that's a factor, so it's a bit kind of pessimistic in a sense. But I think that the strength of Steve Best's analysis is the fact that it's a call for action, and it's not based on the fact that we've got plenty of time. I mean, obviously the other animals don't have plenty of time anyway. So again, with the reducetarians, you know, eat a cow or a pig instead of chickens. You know, like these are effectively appeals to take part in rights violations. And of course, it's easy for them to say that because they're never going to be the ones that are facing the slaughterhouse gates. And so it's very easy for Matt Ball and Leonard to talk about slowing down, just doing this, baby steps and all that crap, right? You know, we don't have time. The planet might not have enough time. And certainly the other animals who are already in the system don't have any time. I used to argue, and I think it's still relevant, that when a domesticated other animal is born into, you know, the meat, dairy, egg industry, then already animal rights has failed them because they've been born. And then, in a sense, they're kind of at the mercy of animal welfareists, unless you can get somebody to actually physically liberate them, which is always a small deal, obviously. Okay, so as I said, this video really is to try and encourage everyone to watch another video. So I'll put the links below. So Ecological Crisis and Veganism by Steve Best. Highly recommended. Please watch. Let me know what you think.